Welcome to the Slam Diego Show here on Roundtable with your hosts, as always, Hunter and Anthony. And Hunter, it's been a great week of baseball for the Padres.
Yeah, no, it's been a really fun, really exciting week of baseball for the Padres. Not only good for individual players, some heating up, which we'll talk about later, but also just some really good team victories that I'm super excited to share with you guys. It's been a phenomenal week to be a San Diego Padres fan for sure.
Absolutely. And if you think about it too, it's been only getting better and better and better with you could say some of the most exciting baseball we've seen late game action as
Yeah,
of the past couple of years, even. I mean, obviously you have that great, Fernando Tatis walk-off last year over the Angels, but I think some of these are up there too. But we'll get to those later, not to
yeah,
get anything too early on. But we start in Fenway Park with Xander Bogaerts' return back
yeah.
to the Red Sox for the first time in his trip that the Padres fared pretty well in. Obviously, the game when we did our last podcast, while they were playing, they unfortunately did lose that one on the Friday. But on the Saturday, they were able to pick up the dub here.
Yeah, and it's one of those games we talk about where it's a close game because our offense hadn't been producing a ton, so we weren't expecting to score a ton of runs. But I mean, if we look at it, we go out there and we score in the second after not giving up any runs in the first, which is really great. We had Randy Vasquez starting on the bump, and he had an amazing stat line. You can see he did give up that one run in the second, which is unfortunate, but we answered right back as a team, which was awesome. And Randy ended up going 6 innings just with that one run, 3 strikeouts, but only giving up 6 hits and 1 walk. So yeah, a couple hits and only 1 walk is great, a little less strikeouts, but ultimately giving up 1 run in 6 innings, like that's great pitching, and that's exactly what we want from Randy. So we will take that any day of the week, especially when our team backs him up. We immediately go out there and score. They score back, no biggie. We get another one to still take the lead 2-1. Randy's going to go out, get us a shutdown, and then unfortunately we do give up a run in the 8th, but then we score right back in the 9th, and then obviously Mason Miller does his thing. So really good pitching performance. Unfortunately, Morejon did end up giving up that one run. He gave up 2 hits and just happened to give up a run between those 2 hits, which is unfortunate. But then, like we said, we scored in the top of the 9th, rallied as a team, and then once Mason Miller enters the game, it's no good for the other team. He had 3 strikeouts in an inning. He's disgusting.
And the more we progress throughout this week, a common theme is going to be Mason Miller dominance. But in this game, the Padres played to how they need to play. They get a couple early, it's tight late, and then eventually they overcome, not a deficit, but they're able to rather take the lead and keep it with Mason Miller. Correct me if I'm wrong, was this the game that we ran on Roman Anthony and it fared pretty well?
Yes, because
Yeah.
I love Roman Anthony, but his arm, he has not proven some good throws from left field.
Yeah, and that was the run in the top of the 9th here that basically won us the game, which, again, if you're going to – who cares? I mean, right? It sucks for Roman Anthony, but as a Padres fan, that's great. Keep it up.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
exactly.
this was a great performance for the Padres. Obviously, you want to get more runs across, and the hitting, the 7 hits on 3 runs, it's not terrible. But, again, you need to do better. But a win's a win. And this is coming off again. This was our 3rd win of the season. These weren't easy to come by. And so finally, against a Red Sox team that's been terrible too. So it was good to see one go through, even if it wasn't the prettiest thing. Obviously, Randy Vasquez is a stud. He's had a really good start to the season. That's the thing I really like too. I think he's been consistently our best starting pitcher so far to start the season. He's just been shut down.
Yeah, no, he has. And I think something to note with him is that we're not expecting 7 innings no earned every time. He's our 3rd guy in our rotation, and that's maybe 4th guy if Musgrove comes back and does good. So he's doing more than what we need him to, and it's awesome to see because he's really stepped up to the role we need him to, and it's really cool to see him take such a big role as a pretty much ace in our starting rotation right now. But I think one more thing to mention about this game, unfortunately, is Tatis. He did get a hit, went 1 for 5, but 4 of our 9 strikeouts. We'll see, Tatis tend to strike out a good amount this week, but later, once we get, closer to these end games, we'll talk about how Stammen is trying to shake things up in the lineup and really get Tatis going. And I think that will end up happening. We just got to give him a little more time.
Yeah, and we've seen definitely an experiment with the leadoff bat in the season so far. I mean, obviously Tatis has had a couple. In the next game, you'll see it'll be Laureano. And then you've also had Cronenworth and a couple other guys match. Xander Bogaerts even, I think, was leadoff earlier in the year. It's been a
Yeah.
little back and forth, but yeah, obviously Tatis, again, he's not statistically a slow starter, but he is having a very slow start to the season, and hopefully he can correct that. But I mean, as far as this game's concerned, a win's a win, right? You see one get
Correct.
through, and
Agreed.
then this evened up the series to make it one apiece. To then go to the Sunday match where the Padres score quite a bit of runs. I mean, 8 runs on 12 hits. Obviously, Walker Buehler didn't have his finest stuff in this one. I mean, he did give up 4 runs and walk 3, only going 2 2/3. But that's where you just rally as a team and you combine again. You swing the bat well and you win a ball game.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, as a starter, only going 2 2/3 is really hard on your bullpen, especially when we need some of those bullpen arms just because we're missing some starters, so we can't expect starters to go 6+ innings every time. 2 2/3 hurts. 4 and 5 innings, that's fine and that's acceptable, but 2 2/3 really hurts, especially giving up 4. But one thing to know that is good is he did have 4 strikeouts. So besides the 3 hits, 3 walks, and 4 runs, which obviously aren't good, his stuff is there. He just was missing too many over the middle and obviously walking, so not finding the zone. So it's not a stuff issue, it's a control issue, which is something that we've known that with Buehler coming into this season. So that's not something I'm too worried about. I know that Ruben Niebla and Stammen are working with him, and he's working his butt off to figure out that control issue. So I'm not worried, and we'll see again. Buehler will make a really good start later in the week. But as we go down the line, Hart came in, went 2 1/3, kind of picked up the slack, gave up no earned, which is really nice. Gave us some room to breathe, especially because we scored 3 back-to-back innings to take the lead, which was really awesome. Capped off by a Manny 3-run home run, which is good to see, his first of the year. So, like you said, another game where it's a tight game. It's rallying back and forth. It's competitive baseball. And ultimately, the reason we won this game is because our offense really exploded in the 4th and 5th innings. So it was really good to see us do that because we only struck out 7 times as a team there, and we had 15 base runners, which is really important and really good for winning games. So really good team offensive performance. And overall, besides Buehler, not terrible pitching performances.
Yeah, I mean, the bullpen rallied to keep it close. But really, what helped is, again, you go down 4-0, but then you score 3 in the top of the 4th, which, yeah, part of it had to do with an error. And then you go back there in the 5th and you take the lead, you get 3 more across the board. So it's good competitive balance by this Padres team. Okay, we're going to give up some runs, but we're going to strike right back. And they're facing a good pitcher, too, in the veteran Ranger Suarez, who obviously didn't have his best stuff. He did have 4 earned, and then the guy to back him up, Weissert, gave up 2 more that were earned. So it's not like they had their best pitching performance, too, but that's a good, starter that's tried and true, a guy we were trying to get in the offseason in Ranger Suarez, get that unction going. But it's a great day for the Padres offensively, right? 12 hits on 8 runs on 12 hits. That's not something we're going to get, every time. And so
Totally.
it's a good – that's what I like in this week of the Padres, because the week before when we were pretty critical of it, the team wasn't working cohesively. They weren't able to get runs when they needed. We mentioned a lot of runners in scoring position left, or you had the pitching struggle early. Whereas now they're more complementing each other, and it's great to see that in the second week of the season. And this is a big game to get on the road too, because this won the series. So it really first road trip of the season, you win the series to start. Even again, it's against a terrible team in the Red Sox that have been proving to be really bad this season. But still, you got to get the wins, and that's what's nice with this one. And you carry it over to Pittsburgh, where they blank them. I mean, it's a great game against a great team so far. And a great pitcher in Bubba Chandler.
Yeah, Bubba Chandler is one of their young up-and-coming guys. He's got really good stuff, and unfortunately, it just wasn't his best today as he went 4 1/3, giving up 5 hits and 4 walks, ended up being 3 runs. So obviously lots of hits and lots of walks, but only 3 runs. Obviously I'm not going to complain. We won 5-0, but I am going to complain about the fact that we had 5 hits, 4 walks, 9 base runners, and only scored 3 off of him. I think we could have scored a lot more, and you'll see, our top of the lineup, not amazing. 1 for 5, 0 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 4. Obviously, you're not going to complain with hits, but I mean, it's just not not the best, especially considering those are like our core four. Those are the four guys who are looking to get hits. That's why they're in the top of the lineup. Not only are they doing that, they're striking out too. As you can see, they all had a strikeout apiece with Manny having 2. But we noticed a trend, like we talked about. The leadoff spot has almost been cursed for the Padres recently because Laureano last game went 0 for 5, and now he's 1 for 5. So he's 1 for his last 10, and we'll see another game tomorrow, not great from the leadoff spot. And it sucks. So what we need to do, I believe, is put our highest average at the time, which I believe currently it is, besides Campy, it should be Andujar now, maybe Sheets. But we need someone who's hot in the leadoff because our leadoff spot is what gets us going. And for some reason, every single player we've put in the leadoff spot has not been able to figure it out. So I don't know what the issue is, maybe if it's approach or whatnot, but that is definitely something that needs to flip around in the lineup because our leadoff spot is super important and we just haven't quite figured that out yet.
And a guy who got hot from this trip in this game too, went 2 for 4, is Nick Castellanos.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that you can see it here, he's tied for the team lead who's starting at 250. But that's the thing, is he got some hits together in this series, started with this game 2 for 4 with an RBI. I mean, he was hitting the ball well. But the story of the game is the pitching side, right? I mean, German Marquez does give up 6 hits, but he goes 5. He only walks 1, strikes out 4, doesn't give up a run. That's a quality start. He gets the win. And then Marinaccio and David Morgan combine for, the last 4 innings of the game, only giving up 1 hit, both each striking out 1. I mean, it's a really quality pitching performance against a Pittsburgh lineup that started the season pretty good. They weren't winning ball games because their pitching was incredible. They were winning ball games because they were scoring a lot of runs. So it's great to see by this Padres team that they were able to get this kind of win, even with a bad day at the plate. They do get 5 across, but that number we've been talking about to start the season, runners in scoring position, 3 for 12. 3 for 12. Just abysmal. I mean, they left 10 on base. I mean, it was
not
probably as bad as it could get. The only team worse, you could say, in the 2 was obviously the team that didn't score a run, were runners in scoring position for them. They were 1 for 10. But the Pirates didn't even score. So that doesn't really make sense. But
yeah, I believe it was runner on second single. He only got to third. He ended up not going home. That's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. But again, it's just bad baseball. You got to score runs when you get the chance. And sure, again, Bubba Chandler's good. Even though he gave up 3 earned in this one, his ERA on the season is still 3.12. So obviously, you combine that with a quality first start. He's a really good pitcher. But yeah, I mean,
one thing I do want to
note.
One thing I do want to note that was amazing from German Marquez is, yes, he did give up 6 hits in 5 innings, which you look at, that's kind of a lot because that puts your whip over 1. But all 6 hits were singles. None of them were smoked to a gap. None of them were put off the fence. None of them were triples. Like, these were all singles that kept the runner at first, keeping him out of scoring position. Obviously, eventually some moved into scoring position, but he was doing the job as if he does give up a hit, it's a weak hit because it's a good pitch and a good location that the best they can do off that pitch is get a single. So really good start from German Marquez, which is what we need. Like we said, out of Randy and out of German Marquez in those 3rd and 4th spots right now, we need starts like this. So I'm loving it. Good start from him.
And I loved what German said after the game, too. He had a great post-game conference where he was saying that he finally felt like he was out there competing. That's how he described his performance. His curveball was really good in this game, and he was out there just competing. And I think, again, because he got rocked in his first start, but to see him be able to bounce back and have him have a really good game like this, it bestows confidence in his ability going in for the rest of the season. For him to have a good start against a good lineup like this, obviously, they didn't have a good day at the plate, but German Marquez, that's going to be a guy we're going to need because obviously he's going to have to hold down that 4th or 5th spot for quite a while because we don't have help coming for probably another month and a half between the pair of Musgrove or Griffin Canning or a trade. So we're going to need these guys to step up, and it was good to see for this game. Now, unfortunately, you go to the next day, not so great. Nick Pivetta against Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is going to ball, even though he had a terrible opening day, which wasn't his fault. But this is what happens when you face a premier pitcher in the league, and your premier pitcher doesn't have he has a decent day, right? I mean, he only gives up 2, but the bullpen just fell apart.
Yeah, and honestly, not to call him out, honestly, the bullpen didn't even fall apart. It was mostly just Morahone who came in and just could absolutely not figure it out, which is a really big bummer because Pivetta, like you said, it's a quality start. It's not perfection, but 5 innings, only giving up 2 with 8 strikeouts. I'll take that any day of the week. I'm happy with that at Pivetta. That's not a bad start. We can easily win a game with that as our starting pitcher. Unfortunately, we did only score 1 run because we only had 3 hits the whole game. We had 9 strikeouts, so not great offensively. As we see from that leadoff spot again, Laureano 0 for 4, like we're talking about. Leadoff spot, just can't figure it out. But back to the pitching, I mean, Rodriguez comes in and goes for an inning, gives up 2 hits but doesn't give up a run, gets out of it. Peralta comes in, who Peralta did have me nervous. He gave up a hit and a walk, luckily got a strikeout, and then ended up getting out of the inning. And then Morejon comes in, and he only recorded 1 out and just ended up giving up 5 hits and 4 runs out of it, which is just super brutal, especially in a game where we're only losing 2-1 at this point. It's a really tight, close game later in the game, and they go ahead and smack that on our foreheads. It's a little frustrating to see that in the bottom of the 8th when, we easily could have gotten to Jason Adam if he'd been healthy, or Estrada, even back to Hart maybe, and then get Mason Miller in the game. But normally Morejon is one of those arms we trust, and recently this past week probably just hasn't been his best. He hasn't had his stuff because he's been throwing harder. If you've noticed, he's been throwing his sinker around 100 miles an hour, sitting 98. So he's getting it up there. He just can't seem to figure out the control, like almost what we talked about with Buehler. He's been leaving too many over the middle or too many out of the zone, leading to walks or too many hits and too many runs. So I would say give him, a day rest and continue to work with him. But I do have high hopes in Morejon. I know he'll figure it out. Last season, he was an all-star. He can easily get back to that if we just continue to work with him.
And that happens time in and time again, right? Where a reliever's not going to have their best stuff. And obviously this one, 5 come across. Like it's tough to have. And they weren't all his fault. One of them was due to an error, but it still was a rough performance by him. And yeah, that's the difference in this game, right? Because it's a pitcher's duel. It's 2-1 going late, and then you just have one guy have it fall apart. Now on the Padres part too, you got to get more than 3 hits, right? Obviously the leadoff spot is struggling, but behind it, Tatis gets 1, Xander Bogaerts gets an RBI single, and then Miguel Andujar gets a hit. But that's it. And combined for 9 strikeouts. I mean, sure, we strike out 1 time less than the Pirates do, 9-10, but they got 12 hits to pair with it. So it really didn't matter at the end of the day. But yeah, this is one of those that just got away in the end, and you weren't able to turn it over to Mason Miller and someone to walk it off in the bottom of, or take a lead rather on the road trip. But even though this game was terrible, it's good to see that they bounced back, right?
Yes.
Even though they lost a gross game, they're able to come back the next day and win 8-2. I mean, you talk about you want to see resilience. That's resilience in a team on the road where they just had a game you want to forget, and then they go win big.
No, totally. And that's something my college coach used to tell me all the time. You got to forget the game the day before. You got to be able to flip the page and restart and go straight back to work, and it's exactly what the Padres did. And it's good to see, especially when we didn't have the start to the season we were expecting, right? Before this road trip, we were 2-5, and we've climbed back. We were 5-6. We were 4-6. Nope, we were 5-5, ended up losing to go 5-6. So we got back to 500, lost, now we're under 500, and now we go out here and spank them to get back to that 500 mark, which is really important, especially because it wasn't just a close nail-biter again. It was like, send a message, we want to win this game. Now, as you can see, we didn't score for 6 innings. So we go out there, King gives up 2 earned in 6 innings on 4 strikeouts. So, again, another quality start, we'll take it. Not a ton of strikeouts, but 2 runs in 6 innings. I'm not complaining with that because I believe this offense can do what they did and win a game when we only give up 2. But we couldn't figure it out until, the 7th inning. And when we did, it just kind of came together. Like the whole team, like Laureano was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts until this inning. And he ends up, 2 for 5 with a run. Tatis ended up coming through with a really clutch hit. So obviously 1 for 5 is not his best, but he came through when it mattered. And then if you see, towards the bottom of our lineup, that's where our hits came in. Bogaerts 1 for 5, Andujar 2 for 4, and then Casty with those 2 RBIs. It really was good to see the lineup stretch. Everyone be able to contribute throughout the entire lineup, not just see select 2 or 3 guys on the top or the middle or the bottom. It's like the whole lineup kind of helped in that 7th inning when we scored 4 and that 9th inning when we scored 4. So it was a really good send a message to the Pirates, like, we want to win. We're here to win, regardless of what was yesterday. We played a new baseball game today, and that's why we won.
it's poetic even, right? Because the game before fell apart late, and this one for the Pirates, the game fell apart late. Their
Yeah.
reliever Justin Lawrence just couldn't figure it out. I mean, he gave up 4 runs, 3 were earned, right? But he pitched to an inning, and that really opened the floodgates. Now, obviously, we get 4 more in the top of the ninth for you could say extra insurance at that point. But at that point, again, the Pirates were kind of just in mop up duty. They were leaving Jose Urquidy out there just to try to salvage something
Yep.
pitching wise because they, again, a lot of pitchers used in the series and it's early in the season, so you don't want to overexpose anyone too much. But yeah, just great resilience. And like you mentioned, if you can get this kind of action from the bottom of the lineup, doesn't even have to be consistently, but maybe a couple games during a week, right? That's all the difference in the world, right? Because you have the guys who aren't expected to make the difference, and then you
Oh,
set it up on a platter for a guy in leadoff like Ramon Laureano, who again you mentioned started the game 0 for 3. He gets 2 hits late that are clutch. You know what I mean? That
yeah.
helps it out. And then Tatis gets an RBI hit later too. So that's why it's good to see the parity in the lineup. And then based off of Michael King's start, that was excellent. And sure, he does give up the 2 in the 7th. He started the inning but wasn't able to finish it. But still, I mean, this is a great win. It cements the road trip as a winning road trip. You win both series on the road trip, and you still look like the Pirates lost 2 out of 3 in this one, meaning they went into the series 6-3. That is excellent to start the season. So it's just great to see that they were able to get that kind of victory against a good team. And then you have the Padres who went into the road trip not looking great, and they were able to now get back to 500.
Totally. And I think one last thing to note about this game is the start of Campy getting hot and this hot streak he's been on, which I love to see because at this point, he's up in the top of the ninth and we're already winning 4-2. We get a runner on and he ends up scoring him on a double to give us that nice cushion of 5-2, like a nice bigger lead. And just good things to see out of Campy because he was 0 for 3 at this point with a strikeout. He comes up in a nice spot and gives us some more insurance. And really just allows, Mason Miller's obviously not worried, but allows Mason Miller to go out there and just do whatever he wants because now we're winning by, which at that point we were winning by 3, but ended up winning by 6 because, the rest of our lineup kept it going. And it's something good to see that Campy is getting hot and continuing to keep the rest of the lineup hot because he's in the bottom of the lineup.
And it's good to see, right? Because Campy was a guy we wanted to have a good season because obviously he's our backup catcher behind the plate. But on the offense, I mean, we were mentioning he's like the perfect quad A player where he's going to absolutely dominate in AAA. But once he gets up here, he's struggling a little bit. Good for him to be able to have, performance here. And obviously, once we get to the Colorado series, he continues that performance of, you could say, positive play. But yeah, it's good stuff by the Padres here. And 8 runs on 10 hits. Yes, again, the runners in scoring position is not perfect. It's 5 for 17. So again, we're not doing what we could, but it's baseball. It's the major leagues at the end of the day. The other team gets paid a lot of money to play too, even though the Pirates don't get paid nearly as much as the Padres do to play. That's like as one of the golden teams of small market baseball. But I mean, you think of it here too, small market baseball. Connor Griffin, who just got paid almost $200 million to be the face of the Pirates, he wasn't very good in this series. And I believe this was the series he got called up for too. So good to face him before he figures it out. I mean, we have struggled against early call up rookie of the year candidate player so far to the season. To start with Detroit, where I forget his name. He has
Kevin McGonigal.
Kevin McGonigal. There you go. 4 hits to start the season on opening day, and then he gets a clutch hit to open the floodgates the day after. I mean, talk about bad start to the season facing players like that. Luckily for this, we were able to get it back.
Yep. And we would go out there. Mason Miller ended up looking a spectacular again. Got his 2 strikeouts in the last inning. Wasn't a save opportunity, but who cares? Who doesn't love watching Mason Miller dominate? He actually did make Connor Griffin look pretty silly on a slider away too. So really cool to see. But it was honestly really good momentum to get this win back to 500 and to take this into our series against the Rockies, who they're not that good of a team. They're doing better this year than we expected, but ultimately they don't have the stuff to compare with us. And we see that as we win the game 7-3. Now, yes, we won in extras in the 12th inning. I was really nervous. I stayed up till like 10:45 to finish the game. and I was freaking out because I was like, there's no way we can just have a great road trip and lose all momentum in a series opening loss to the Rockies. But luckily, Xander Bogaerts is the hero, and he ended up. Why don't we let's take a look at the video.
Bogey to deep left field! It's back! Slam Diego to walk it off! Bogey goes boom! Into a sea of San Diegans! Padres win at 12! In fantastic fashion for the faithful!
I mean,
So
I don't mean to rag on Red Sox fans, but this must be such a terrible spot because you just lost to the Padres, in the series 2-1. You're looking bad on the season. And then you have Xander Bogaerts hit a walk-off grand slam with the play-by-play man, Don Orsillo, who you kicked out of Boston, doing, in my opinion, he's my favorite broadcaster in baseball right now. I mean, without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
And it just happens that he plays for our favorite team. So that's obviously great too. But I mean, how fortunate are we to be able to get that kind of excitement, on a Thursday night, right? Against Colorado, who I think a lot of people think right now Colorado might be the team of destiny, which is kind of fun. I mean, to be honest. And I love Rockies fans too. I don't know if you saw what they did the other day, but they had a tarps off section at Coors Field where it was the middle of the game, but they had the whole 300 top nosebleed section just go tarps off for an inning, just rallying the team.
I did see that. Awesome.
It was just great. But this is a game, like you mentioned, for the Padres. It would be so bad to have all the momentum in the world off of that road trip go bye-bye after we can't score. Or rather, the game was tied at 1 apiece, but still, you can't score against the Rockies that much in the game. It's just crazy. And then they go 1 apiece in the 10th and the 11th. And then, of course, the walk-off grand slam, which, to be honest, I don't know about you. I think I need to see it again.
I wouldn't be mad.
Bogey to deep left field! It's back! Slam Diego to walk it off!
I just love that swing. I love the
phenomenal.
swing.
Yeah, phenomenal. It was awesome. I mean, not to take away from another Randy Vasquez amazing outing. He had 5 2/3, only gave up 1 earned, and it was on a solo shot, and he had 8 strikeouts. So really good quality start from Randy Vasquez. Love to see it. Yes, he did give up 7 hits, which is a lot, but 5 of those were singles. So besides the home run, he only gave up 1 double, which they ended up doing nothing with, and the rest were weak singles. So Randy has been looking really good, like our ace. And then luckily, the runs we ended up giving up technically weren't earned because they were runners who started on second in extras. And we kind of just took advantage of the runners they were giving us because it doesn't show in the video we watched, but we had a runner on third with 2 outs, and we walked Merrill intentionally. They intentionally walked Merrill, and then they intentionally walked Manny as well to get to Xander. So they loaded him up purposefully to get to Xander Bogaerts. And then it was a 1-0 count, fastball in. He just turns on it, and he shows them exactly hey, you can walk whoever you want. If I'm up, I'm winning this game. And he just sends it with Don Orsillo's amazing call. Super great performance from our pitching overall. Only 1 run in 9 innings is awesome. Obviously, extras, they start with some runners on, so it's a little different. But good resilience from our team. Scoring back, right after that we give up the solo shot, Fernando gets a sac fly, so we tie it up in the 3rd. Then when they score in the 10th, we go score in the 10th. They score in the 11th. We go score in the 11th. Finally, we get that shutdown. We put up a 0 in the top of the 12th. And then like we just saw, Xander Bogaerts' bogey goes boom. So really good fight from the team, especially to get that important opening game series win against the Rockies.
And you need to get the opening series game win too. This is a 4-game division series. Even though it is against the Rockies, who are probably going to lose upwards of 80, 90 games this season, it's still you need to be able to get that win. And Randy Vasquez, I mean, he's not to say it too early, but he's pitching to basically a 1 flat ERA across 3 starts. That's insane. I mean, at the major league level against good teams, mind you, too. And then again, we mentioned it, even though it wasn't the difference maker in this game, Mason Miller pitched an inning and struck out the side. I mean, it's no big deal, right? Like, Mason Miller has almost as many strikeouts during the season as he does balls. I mean, it's
Ridiculous.
The stat I believe is, I think it's 20 balls, 19 strikeouts,
Yeah,
which is
insane.
I mean, what are we
Insane.
doing?
Yeah, nuts, dude.
I mean, but this is a great game by the Padres late, and you talk about momentum, which it would have been great if we could have won this game in 9 innings, but a walk-off grand slam to Xander Bogaerts, and we were talking about it too during that game, was how Xander Bogaerts can't hit the ball down the middle for whatever reason. If it's a middle pitch, he can't hit it. But this sinker inside, it is middle, but it's inside, doesn't miss it, just crushes it. And it's good to see that he's finally able to turn on the ball and get something going. I mean, 241 to start the season for him. Not great. 2 for 6.
Yeah.
Like, Xander Bogaerts is more of an average guy, really, than anything. He has some pop in his bat, but need to see him do better.
No, totally. But I mean, 2 for 6, that's, one for 3. It's 330 average. If you can do that every game, I'm not going to complain, especially with it, with a grand slam. But going back to talking about Mason Miller, he ended up coming in the 9th. Obviously, he didn't get the save opportunity because we weren't winning. But 3 strikeouts. Like, this dude is – I've been seeing posts. If he keeps this up, he could win a Cy Young. And he'd be the first person to do it in 23 years since Eric Gagne did it. Because he looks untouchable. If you look at his last 20 outs – maybe last 20 batters. He hasn't given up a hit in 28 batters, and it's 19 strikeouts, 1 ground out in the last 20 batters. Like, this dude is nuts. He is unreal, and he is, in my opinion, and I don't even think it's an opinion at this point, the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Oh, no, it's not. If you look across social media, you have a lot of people making Mason Miller profile pieces right now, just proving. I think I saw one the other day that said he is the best player in baseball right now. Not just the best pitcher, the best player in baseball because of how dominant he is.
Yeah.
And that is not something you can say lightly. Now, obviously, yes, you can say no one has taken the world by storm to start the season so far, other than Mason Miller. So, yes, you can make that argument that it's so early. But still, I mean, you don't see this kind of dominance for nothing, right? And especially at the back half of your bullpen. Like, Mason Miller, I think he already has, 3, 4, or 5 saves to start the season. If he can get into, the 60 or 70 save club, that would be insane. I mean, talk about a throwback, right?
No,
and it was cool to see, too, moving on to the next game, that Trevor Hoffman was in attendance for this game. He was one of the guys that helped usher in the new jerseys. I mean, talk about, you think Trevor Hoffman likes going to Padre games, seeing the best closer in baseball of our generation, Mason Miller, shut it down. I'm sure if I were him, I would be going to every single game. And then after the game, go downstairs to talk to him and be like, hey, that was cool. I would be a fanboy over that. And I'm in the Hall of Fame. That's how crazy it is.
Totally. But, I mean, this game was everything you could ask for as a Padres fan. Our new City Connects debuted on field. And they looked, I will say, I didn't love the jersey look right when they came out. I was okay with it. But on field, they look really clean. So I'm pretty happy with the City Connects. I like it. It's definitely different than the last City Connects, even though similar themes, but looked really good. And then just this game was, honestly, we could call this the Gavin Sheets game. And if you don't know why, you'll learn. But to start it off, our pitching did pretty solid. Not giving up a run till the 8th inning is awesome, regardless of who you're playing. So Buehler, like we talked about, his last start, not great, turned the page. Really good to see from him. 6 innings, only gave up 3 hits, no earned with 4 strikeouts. Really quality start from Walker Buehler, who we picked up last second. He made the roster, and that's the kind of things that I love to see from him. Him really work hard and make a quality start like that. And then our bullpen, Hart came in with for an inning, didn't give up a run, and then Morejon, unfortunately, did come in. Only got 2 outs recorded and did give up 2 runs. And it's just been a struggle for him recently, which really sucks because now we can't really trust him to put him in those tight situations until he shows us he's worthy of it again. Because every time we put him in a tight situation, he's kind of, wet the bed, we could say. So luckily after that, Jason Adam is reinstated from the IL. And he came in and got the last out for him, which is really cool to see Jason Adam healthy again. And, luckily we're not making him pitch a ton. He only threw 5 pitches, but we're going to work him back into probably being our go-to guy for setting up Mason Miller because of how dominant Jason was last year. And then Mason comes in, top of the ninth, awesome freaking walkout, and the new City connects. Like, what more could you ask for? And then you know exactly what's going to happen. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Like Don says, all down by the way of the K. Beautiful, beautiful, right? And then, like we talked about, this is the Gavin game. In the fifth, the first run we scored, Gavin Sheets solo shot. And then right after that, Luis Campusano, who's been hot recently, solo shot. So we're up 2-0. Morejon comes in, gives up 2 runs. It's tie game. It's all right. Mason shuts him down. Gavin comes up with 2 runners on in the bottom of the ninth. What happened?
Sheets to deep right center field. It's back. A 3-run home run to walk it off. Second straight night for San Diego. Holy Sheets.
I mean, it's so good. And the thing is you saw it in the video, how clean those City Connects look. Like Hunter mentioned it didn't look great when they first came out, but on the field in the game look really, really solid. And he mentioned it. This is a Gavin Sheets game. And what I love about that Don Orsillo call is he made Holy Sheets such a perfect part of it. I mean, yeah. I don't know about you, but I thought he would say something very different after Holy, just in that natural reaction that I think probably 75% of the fans said at that point, even though they were chanting Holy Sheets when he hit it. I mean, that kind of surprise, just walk-off bomb. That was ecstatic. Back-to-back nights for the Padres walking it off.
Totally. And honestly, yes, that pitch was towards the middle, but that's still 100 miles an hour that he's just turning on it. He hit it 434, by the way, for your information. That ball was absolutely obliterated. Now, I wasn't asking for a home run. At the time I was watching it, I was like, oh, Sheets might come up, hit a double. I'm loving it. That's a great walk-off. But this dude was 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 4 of our 5 runs. He was 2 of our 6 hits, so a third of our hits, and was 4 of our 5 runs. This was definitely the Gavin Sheets game, as he just cemented himself as a San Diego legend. He will never have to pay for a drink again in San Diego because – this was Gavin Sheets' game. I loved it. It was awesome, especially to see someone like Gavin Sheets, who he worked really hard this offseason to kind of find that first baseman position, and he got the start because he has been recently. And Stammen has said in multiple interviews, this dude has worked his butt off. So to see it really pay off for him and just absolutely crush 2 baseballs and, just have all those San Diego fans, cheering for him, going crazy, it was really cool to see, especially – for him. I honestly wouldn't want it to be anyone else that game. I was ecstatic for him. Great game.
He's a great dude too, and he was needing to find a new spot to really settle in. San Diego was welcoming him good, especially with the Holy Sheets chant. But speaking of walk-off moments, and you could say incredible moments, Gavin Sheets has been on the wrong side of a T-shirt game with Jackson Merrill for a little while now, unfortunately, and there was a report yesterday. It was great coverage. I apologize. I don't remember who did it, but talking about how a couple seasons now with him on the Padres, he, unfortunately, that is Gavin Sheets, ran into the wall, and Jackson Merrill took the opportunity to put that image on a T-shirt and captioned it Holy Sheets. And the thing is okay, haha, right? It's funny, right? But Gavin Sheets has kind of vowed to get revenge on that moment, but he's been ever so slowly taking his time. Now, if I'm Gavin Sheets, to be honest, I think this might be the opportunity to get back because this was the swing of swings. And obviously, I guess the idea more would be to poke fun at Merrill. But if you could put a T-shirt out there with that swing with him or something of that nature and caption it Holy Sheets, I think he's going to win the Holy Sheets T-shirt off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean – hilarious of Merrill to do that, but I can't wait until Merrill slips up and does something and Sheets makes a funny T-shirt for him. I love their bromance. I love how welcoming we've been for Gavin Sheets. And like I said, for him to be able to do that and have such a special night, really cool, especially just back-to-back walk-offs and amazing calls from Don Orsillo is electric. Like all these people in the comments are like, you guys are celebrating a random win against the Rockies in April. And it's like, it's back-to-back walk-off home runs. Like, who isn't celebrating that for their team? It's awesome. It's electric. You can't ask for more as a Padres fan because it's such a fun atmosphere, even when you're not there. Like, I'm watching the games at home with my friends, and I'm having a blast. It's awesome. So no one is going to complain when their team hits a walk-off home run, and luckily we just happened to get it in back-to-back nights.
And there's a reason why San Diego was celebrating so much. And the reason why these other teams and fans don't understand it is they're not part of the culture. And if you look at it, this is why. Petco Park has sold out every single home game to start the season. That doesn't happen in baseball. I mean, I was just looking at it, when we went to Pittsburgh and the attendance, their attendance was about 9,000 for one of the games. We're averaging a sellout for every single Padres home game. Do you know how insane that is? I mean, they call this America's favorite ballpark for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And San Diego, which has been ridiculed of not being a sports town, you don't have this anywhere else in the country. And that excitement is genuine. And it is so special to be a part of. And that's why the city, led by Don Orsillo, led by Gavin Sheets, led by all these guys, it's so contagious.
Yeah, no, it's really cool because I think that's a big reason why the Padres play so much better at home is because we have a sold-out crowd. Like, we have so many people there just chanting for every play. Every player is getting their own chant at this point, and it's really cool to see because it really does affect the players and help them and honestly boost their confidence, allowing them to play better. So, unfortunately, Jake Cronenworth has not been hot, and he did get sat tonight, which could be a night off, and I'm fine with that. But Tatis ended up getting a start at second base. Super interesting. We'll get all to it next week when we see more of it and the game is over. But Tatis starting at second, Jake getting the night off. I think we all need to get behind Jake Cronenworth because he honestly hasn't been his best since his rookie season. And each year it seems like he's declining. And I really want to see him take that leap and become an all-star again because I know it's there. We just need to see it from him, and we need to get off his back. So I think a night off is a great thing. I think him coming back and staying lower in the lineup and just allowing him to see more fastballs, and I think he could get hot.
And what I like about that, too, is that, especially with all the performances we've been having around him lately, it's not his bat that's losing the games, which is good. We've been able to rally even in spite of, you could say, his unfortunate stances at the plate, which, yes, he needs to get better because we all know how good Cronenworth can be at the plate. You already mentioned, all-star once in his career before, but you look at this last game with him in the lineup too. I mean, he's hitting ninth and he's 0 for 3 with a strikeout and he's hitting 163 with a 500 OPS on the season. Like, that's not good. And it's against a Rockies team that's not going to pitch that crazy. So hopefully, again, night off, he can reset, come back on the day game for Sunday, and hopefully reset good. Now, the other thing, too, with the Padres is we mentioned it with the jerseys. They look very clean, and the city of San Diego agrees. They set a new record. You can read it here. $1.1 million in ballpark sales for the new City Connect gear. Do you think City Connect is popular among San Diegans? I think so.
I think so. I mean, yes, that hat is beautiful. I'm ordering one of those hats, and I love that they did cream instead of like a white. I think the cream hat matches, like, obviously the jersey and the pants so well. But on field, the navy and cream is such a good look, especially with a little bit of orange. Some of the players have been wearing pink undersleeves because there's like a little pink stripe on the sleeve, so it matches really well. And I really like the on-field look. It's a really good look. Looks athletic, looks sporty, looks clean, and it represents San Diego really well. And, that nice throwback to the Tony Gwynn era. So really cool. I'm not surprised it set a ballpark sales record. It's awesome. And I'm excited for every Friday night home game where we get to wear them.
And that's the thing that we gotta keep bringing up too, is that you set the new record for most purchased item for a new jersey in the City Connect era. You have 8 sold out nights, which I'm sure is going to be 9 coming up, every game here on and set forth. This is the best fan base. You could say the most committed fan base in baseball. That's not the biggest fan base if you think about it, right? No one's going to rival the Yankees or the Dodgers with global reach, right? That's how it is. But of a local team that gets local fans to show up consistently and tune in. And I mean, I was at a bar the other day, right? and the guy was telling me how, he's not really super into baseball, whatnot, but he follows the Padres and he wants to know as much as he can because he loves the energy and the vibes of it. Is he might not be current on what is going on day in and day out, but he loves the team and he loves the culture and he loves going to games. And that's, I think, what really encapsulates San Diego as a whole. Is not everyone might be the perfect understander or surveyor of the sport of baseball, but they all love the team and they rally behind it in as many different ways as they can. And I think that is something so special about the Padres that you really don't get elsewhere.
Yeah, totally. And as we're the game is currently live, our third game against the Rockies. We've already won the series, which is nice, but we unfortunately went down 4-0 to start the game. Yerman Marquez not having his best start. We did end up scoring one, and then Manny hit a 2-run home run. So we're only down 1 run now. And you just know, because the sea of San Diegans are behind our players, that we, after this amazing road trip and this homestand, we're looking good on offense. So I'm not worried about it. I think we can, throw a couple scoreless innings and get back in the game, and I'm not worried about it, especially with a Saturday night in San Diego at Petco Park. Like, it's going to get loud.
It's going to get loud. It's going to get rowdy. And hopefully Mason Miller is going to come out and shut it down again for another night if he gets the opportunity, right? You need the opportunity. But, man, it is such a good time to be a San Diego Padres fan. And it's so early in the season, but that's the thing, is that the city lives for baseball, right? Yeah. With no other major sport, baseball is the time of the year, especially when the weather's starting to come around. You have especially global, you could say, attention now in San Diego with the Artemis II landing yesterday, which unfortunately I did not see or hear, but
me neither.
Everyone was talking about it. It was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, you have Artemis II and you have the Padres, right? Those are the two big things. But anyway, but like you mentioned it, they're probably going to come back tonight, and we'll have a whole nother week of Padres baseball under our belt before next podcast, which hopefully again is another positive like this one. But it's great to be a San Diego Padres fan. Good baseball, good community, good turnout, right? And great play on the field as of late, right?
Agreed. Yep, it's beautiful to see.
But that'll do it for this week's episode of the Slam Diego Show. Thank you for tuning in and checking us out on socials. We just got out there and it's doing really good so far. We appreciate your support, watching us and, hanging out with us for a little bit while we talk Padres baseball. But that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening as always, and take care.